Is power creep a problem in Genshin Impact, or is it becoming one? This is something I'm seeing a lot of, so I'm going to put my take on this. I've been playing the game since day one, so I feel like I have a good grasp of the game. I've seen characters come and go, climb the ladder, and power creep is something, in a gacha game especially, that's always going to exist in some form. They want you to spend money and pull on new characters after all. But Genshin's kind of a unique case where the game itself, you don't actually need top-of-the-line characters to do everything in the game. They give you plenty of good 4-star options that are very free-to-play friendly, and all of the content in this game is player versus environment. There's no real PvP, but we are seeing that Fontaine's pumping out some pretty solid characters. Is this a problem? Well, to give you my quick answer, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it's bad that Fontaine characters are performing very well. Yeah, Nouvellette might be better than Ayato, and maybe Farina kind of outclasses Kokomi, especially with that permanent running on water, and makes Kokomi's look like a joke. They're not obsolete by any means. And with Navia coming out, I would hope that Navia power creeps Geo a little bit, because Geo needs it. And if you think about it, the alternative, if these Fontaine characters weren't doing so good, people would be even more upset. Because Genshin hasn't really been, a game known for its power creep. You could even argue that the original characters like Ganyu, Hu Tao are still very relevant to this day. Tartaglia is still good. Most of the characters that came out a long time ago, in a lot of cases, are even better than the newer ones, like Dia or, Sino. It really depends, and I don't think Hoyo really prioritizes meta that much when they pump out characters. But overall, I think it's a good thing that characters are getting better, especially newer ones. Do I think that the older ones will ever be obsolete? No, I don't. Even characters like Venti and Zhao that aren't really that used or talked about anymore still have a good purpose in this game and are still very useful. And most people pull on characters that they like. They feel attached to them throughout the story, or maybe just enjoy using them in the overworld. So I really don't think that Fontaine characters being very good is going to be a problem. I truly do believe that the opposite's the case. If these characters were underwhelming in comparison to previous characters, people would be pissed. You know that they would. Just look with Sino and Dia. People were not that happy. Even Scaramouche, people were a little bit underwhelmed. Yaimiko, people weren't that impressed. Kokomi, people were miserable when she came out. People were always pissed off when a character was underperforming. Shenhe and Nilou were too niche, and now that we're getting really good characters, well, I would just say enjoy it, because that means that upcoming characters that you're really excited about are more than likely going to be good. And I really hope Navia is able to power creep Geo and kind of revive it a little bit, because I don't think anyone's going to argue that, it's been kind of underwhelming, and I want each element to succeed. And more or less, there's only two types of players that really could be affected by this sort of thing. If you're extremely invested into meta, crunching the numbers, and the abyss, then yeah, it's going to be kind of annoying if maybe you spend some money on a certain character and that character gets a direct power creep from somebody else that comes out that does everything they do more or less but better. That can be frustrating. Or if it's your favorite character that you really invested a lot of time into that kind of gets swept under the rug, that's always frustrating, and it's always a possibility when playing these types of games. But each character that I've ever seen in Genshin always serves a purpose. Like, even still older characters serve a specific role that they can do very well. And even someone like Ayato that's constantly compared to Nouvellette, well, he's still very good, and his burst does things that Nouvellette can't do either. So there are still aspects to older characters that newer ones can't quite do. It's not like they're completely obsolete by any means. And I would even argue too that if you really wanted to power creep in a sense that would really piss everyone off, me as somebody that's an adamant Kokomi player, it kind of pisses me off that Farina can run on water non-stop and that Kokomi can only do it in her burst. I'm happy that she can, but it kind of pisses me off at the same time, because it's like, I don't know, it's like a novelty of Kokomi's now just irrelevant because Farina can just do it so much better. But I think it's good that they mix it up a little bit. Like, if they released a character that's slightly better than your favorite character, but you're invested so much in your favorite character, are you really going to feel the need to spend money to pull on this new character that basically does what your character does, but slightly better if invested in? Or would you rather pull for a new character that can fly forever? If they released a character that could fly infinitely, that character would be selling really well. I would bet money on it, because that's priceless. You know, a small gimmick in the overworld isn't going to do much, but a huge gimmick like that, I think that people would pull just for that. I know I pulled for Farina just for the running on water. Imagine people that get to play Inazuma for the first time with Farina. Wow, I'm jealous. But the Abyss in the meta portion of this game, and I hate to say this, I'm sorry this offends you or upsets you, but it's pretty non-existent. I mean, it's a DPS check for 3 minutes each time, with a new batch of enemies that slightly favor the new banner character to try to get you to pull for it. Otherwise, you can clear all content with what you got. Older characters are still great. And you could even argue, too, that characters like Jean, now with Farina, they're getting a bit of a boost. So newer characters kind of buff older characters with different team comps as well. So no, I don't think power creep's a problem in Genshin Impact. And honestly, I'm glad to see Fontaine characters are doing well. That means they're listening to us. People were pretty pissed off with Sumeru. You know, there were some good characters in Sumeru, but there's some pretty awful ones too. Awful in the sense that people were underwhelmed. Now they're releasing characters that seem to do very well. Well, I'm not going to get mad about that because they're doing the opposite of what made us upset, right? So we can't fault them for that. You know, it's kind of a lose-lose situation for them. So I think that the latter is to go with the better characters. And yeah, you're going to power creep old ones a little bit in some regards, but at least newer characters that you're excited for are going to be decent, or at least they're more likely to be. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. That's my take on it, but I'm pretty much going to wrap the video up there. There's not much more I can really say about it. You know, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Play the characters that you like, that you have fun. Whatever characters give you the most fulfillment in this game, whatever characters make you the most excited about, excited to save for, you know, like those novelty characters, the Harbingers, the Archons. That's what it's all about, right? And we all like what we like. So on that note, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the matter if you feel that it's an issue or if you're just playing this game to have fun. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.